got Martin Zubimendi coming in as well at Arsenal as a really, really good number 6. I know Arsenal fans have waited week after week for that announcement, but it is on its way. But Nørgaard is an interesting one. Now, look, at £50 million to anyone is a lot of money, but in Premier League terms, 10 million rising to 15 for a captain, an experienced Premier League midfielder. I think that's pretty decent business. They've looked to be bringing in another defender as well, Christian Mosquera from Valencia. He's someone they've been tracking for a couple of years, only 20 years of age. And, of course, Kepa. £5 million. That doesn't sound a lot of money for a very, very experienced goalkeeper. This is someone who cost Chelsea quite a lot of money a few years ago. And again, if this goes through, it's another Chelsea-Arsenal transfer. You've got Giroud, you've got David Luiz, Kai Havertz, Jorginho, Ashley Cole, William Gallas, Petr Cech, Yussi Benayoun, Willian, and I'm probably missing out on one or two there as well, but unbelievable. But look, it gives Mikel Arteta experience on that bench. He needs to turn around next season in Champions League and Premier League games and look at that bench and say, do you know what? I've got experience. And Kepa does bring that as well. And of course, Champions League, this new format, so many extra games. So that would be a big signing for Arsenal as well. But of course, you're absolutely right. They do need to bring that striker in. But I'm sure Mikel Arteta knows that.
I think you see the Jorginho signing as probably something similar, where he joined at the same age, 31 years old, and played a decent role in midfield for Arsenal. Didn't play loads of games, but was competent and helped when needed. So for that reason, I think it's a fine signing. It's not one that's gonna have fans kind of screaming with joy, but I think if and when injuries kick in, you'd rather have that player there than not have them.
Arsenal signed Kepa. Today he completed the second part of his medical, £5 million from Chelsea. Arsenal will sign Martin Zubimendi from Real Sociedad. We know it's a done deal for €65 million with payments in installments. Arsenal are not stopping, also because they have been able to complete a deal for Christian Nørgaard from Brentford. The medical will be next, €11 million plus add-ons for the player. Now Arsenal are also working on a new defender, and the defender name, as we said today, is Christian Mosquera. Spanish, talented, very good player, out of contract in 2026. I can tell you that Andrea Berta, Arsenal director, already wanted to bring the player to Atletico Madrid in the past, when he was Atletico Madrid director. It was not possible because for Valencia was untouchable. Now Mosquera is not that untouchable. Why? Because he's still not extending his contract at the club. The contract expires in 2026, so a big opportunity for a young player, talented, with big potential. And so Arsenal are going for this one. Arsenal already spoke to the player in terms of, obviously, player camp, presenting their project. The player is attracted by this opportunity. He knows that Arsenal will play many games next season, and so to compete with Saliba and Gabriel is not easy, but the idea at Arsenal is to develop Mosquera and to have Mosquera as a very credible solution for the upcoming season, and so contacts are expected with Valencia. The transfer fee could be something around 20-25 million euros. But Arsenal are working on it. On player side, with very good feelings, with the feeling also that the personal terms will not be a problem, but also ready to reach out to Valencia and try to make it happen for Christian Mosquera's new defender for Mikel Arteta.
Many fans here in the chat asking on the situation of Rodrygo. What can we say about him?
Yeah, we have many questions on Rodrygo, but it's also important to say that this Rodrygo story will only enter into clear stages as soon as, first of all, Real Madrid complete their experience at the Club World Cup. So during the Club World Cup, nothing will happen, nothing will develop, forget about that. Also because Rodrygo is fully focused on the Club World Cup with Real Madrid. Then after the World Cup, Arsenal appreciation for Rodrygo remains confirmed. Arsenal love Rodrygo, as they also used to love Nico Williams. So for sure, they would love to bring a top winger this summer. But the real point is what Rodrygo wants to do. The only case for Arsenal to go for Rodrygo is if Rodrygo decides to go and to leave the club. In that case, Arsenal can have the opportunity to try to talk to the player, to talk to the agents, to talk to Real Madrid in terms of transfer fee. But to do that, they need to have an approval from Rodrygo. And at the moment, Rodrygo has still not told anything to Real Madrid or to Xabi Alonso about his future, so the situation is still quiet and calm. Then if later in the window Rodrygo goes to Real Madrid and says, let me go, I want to play more, I want to be a superstar in another club, Arsenal would be ready to try. But otherwise, at the moment, the situation remains calm.
Into that, and have you had any updates on Arsenal striker pursuit?
I don't read into it too much. I think, people are just clutching at this time of the year, aren't they? They're desperate to find some kind of hint, some kind of indication of where a player might end up. And I think this Sesko Gyökeres thing has been going on for such a long time now. It's almost taken the fun out of it. I don't know about you, but I think whenever we get to the point whereby we're ready to announce one of those deals, if indeed Arsenal get there, I don't think I'm going to meet it with that same buzz, just because we've been hearing about it for such a long time and the excitement evaporates a little bit. But in terms of what do I know about the striker situation, what's the latest? It was interesting yesterday to hear Sami Mokbel speaking on the Latte Firm podcast, where he said that actually, if everything goes to plan, Benjamin Sesko is the one that Arsenal will end up with. Now, I find that interesting because so much of the reporting in the last 2-3 days has been centered around Victor Gyökeres. TalkSport's very own Alex Crook said that Gyökeres has been telling everybody close to him that he thinks a deal to Arsenal is on the cards. Gianluca Di Marzio, who's very good on transfers, has also come out and said something very, very similar. But, Arsenal aren't going to sign both of these players. There's no way that happens. So for me, I'm still a little bit lost as to which one is the priority. How much of it is agent talk, I think, is another really important facet to this and an important angle to kind of make sure that you explore when discussing it, because agents do things all the time. Fabrizio Romano, we know in the past, has been briefed by agents, and if he puts something out, I know people have a lot of faith in what he does, myself included, but sometimes it will be steered and led by the noises coming out of a player's camp, which doesn't always necessarily align with the buying club's intentions. So it is very, very difficult to get a read on where this is going. My gut tells me that Sesko is the priority, and I've been saying that consistently. But my personal preference would probably be to see Victor Gyökeres come in.
Well, Harry, moving on.
Arsenal's preferred option was clearly to keep Thomas Partey, because if it wasn't, they wouldn't have engaged in those contract talks with him, and there wouldn't have been such a long discussion over his future. So the fact that he looks as though he's going to be moving on now, and Arsenal have pivoted, I guess, is something maybe you can give them credit for, because of how quickly they've reacted and responded and gone and got somebody else in through the door. I mean, that deal seemed to really accelerate yesterday, didn't it, in a really short period of time. So for that reason, maybe Arsenal deserve a bit of credit, but I think it's clear that their first choice was to keep Thomas Partey. And I think where a lot of people are maybe going wrong in their analysis of this is that they're making the comparison between Jorginho and Nørgaard, when actually
Arsenal are said to be the latest club weighing up a blockbuster summer swoop for Eberechi, with the Crystal Palace star also attracting interest from Tottenham. Arsenal could scupper Tottenham's plans with a surprise move for Eberechi after holding talks with the England star's representatives amid their search for quality attacking signings. The Gunners are in the market for a quality number 9 and a left-sided forward to bolster their title hopes next season. And it seems as though their search for the latter could lead them into a surprise battle with their arch-rivals for ease, who is the latest Crystal Palace star to be linked with a blockbuster summer move. It's outlined that Arsenal hold a strong interest in Ease, who has a £68 million buyout clause in his Eagles contract. Given he would be available for that price, Ease represents a cheaper alternative to Real Madrid's Brazilian forward, Rodrygo, who the Gunners have also been courting this summer. Arsenal's interest will come as a fresh blow to Tottenham, who look set to miss out on the signing of Mbeumo. Thomas Frank was keen to take the Cameroon star with him to North London from Brentford. But joining Manchester United was always Mbeumo's preference, with a deal now said to be close.